Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building another family home, but this time it's going to be for a witch because it's almost Halloween. So I felt like it was the perfect time to build another house for a witch because it's actually been a really long time since I have even built in this world, not specifically something for like a witch, but even just building here in Glimmerbrook, which is of course the world that we got with the, what is that game pack called? Like the Spellcasters? No, Realm of Magic. That's the name of it. So yeah, Realm of Magic came with this world. It's a really pretty world, but it is, I don't know, it's somewhat like, I don't know, it's not limited necessarily because I feel like you could build a lot of styles here. I guess it's just the lot entries that kind of stop me from building here, if you get what I mean. Just like the entrances to the lots, they're just a bit awkward and I feel like they're kind of hard to build with. I think I managed here. I was actually looking at an image that I saw on Pinterest. I'll put it up on screen so you guys can see what I was looking at, and I saw it and I just thought it would be the perfect home for a witch, and I decided it would be a good witch who likes plants and doing magic with different sort of like flowers and stuff to create more happy potions and things that bring like good fortune or health, or I don't know, just things that are more positive and not like dark magic. And so I really enjoyed decorating this home. I decided to also create a room for a toddler. I was originally going to do a nursery, but I remembered that I'm pretty sure I did a home for a witch at some point that had a nursery, and I felt like I was kind of going along with that exact same storyline because I was thinking that maybe the sim had used magic or something, or maybe they couldn't even get pregnant, so maybe they adopted. And I kind of feel like that's the case for this one, but I don't know. I can't remember the exact story, but I'm pretty sure it was something similar. But instead of doing another nursery, I decided to do a room for a toddler instead. So yeah, I just imagined it was a single witch who really wanted to have a family, and so either they used magic to get themselves a child, or maybe they adopted. I don't know. Let me know if you guys have any ideas. But either way, I just wanted to have a lot of fun with decorating something that was a bit more magical and something that was going to be a little bit less realistic. And the bedrooms are in the roof, and the way I did the roof kind of made it pretty challenging. So you'll notice like the hallway is very hard to look into, and I really couldn't think of any way to work around it, so I decided just to leave it as is, and I think it'll be fine for gameplay. But for building, it was a little bit challenging, but I think I managed. And I also have a chimney over here on the side of the build. I end up removing this just because I didn't end up liking the way it looked once I started actually adding a chimney like decoration to it, and I wanted to have more of a balance with two chimneys on the roof because there is two fireplaces, so I felt like it just made sense for me, and so I decided just to get rid of it. Over here I do have a porch area, and I decided to use this live edit object from, I believe it's Get Together, maybe it's a debug object, but either way I thought it looked really cool over here, and I believe I've used it on a build on this particular lot before, and I think it just matches the whole like Realm of Magic like style pretty nicely, if you guys get what I mean. This particular build wasn't supposed to match the build and buy items that came with Realm of Magic, by the way. I'm not using any of the windows, and I don't think any of the doors. Really, I think the wallpaper, the brick on the exterior might have came with Realm of Magic, but I just, yeah, I don't know, that particular style I feel like is very difficult to achieve in The Sims. I think in real life it's very interesting, and I think a lot of the buildings, when you look up inspiration that kind of match the style, are really pretty, but I find it hard to match it, if that makes any sense. I just kind of have trouble making it work in The Sims. I think this awning that I'm actually using above the door came with Realm of Magic though, so I really liked that. I felt like that worked really nicely, but the doors that I'm using came from Cottage Living, and then the windows came from Strangerville because they're, I think, a really nice style. And actually the other windows that I'm using at the lower front of the build came with the High School Years expansion pack, and I actually thought they worked really nicely here. I liked the size of them, and I felt like the style actually worked nice too. So yeah, I felt like that worked out pretty well. And then for the landscaping, I decided just to do like partial fenced in yard, so it's not completely fenced in. There's no gate to enter the yard. And then I did pathways leading to both of the sides of the house because there's doors to exit the house on both sides. And then on the left side, there's this garden, and I'm picking out the vegetables and different sort of like magical harvestables basically that I'm going to have my sim plant here. So it's going to have a fully planted garden on this side, and then there's also going to be another garden on the other side that has vegetables. So this one's like flowers and magical sort of like mushrooms and berries, and I figured this is mostly for potions and stuff, and then there's a little vegetable garden on the other side. So I think that's more maybe for cooking, but probably also for potions too. I really enjoyed that, and I also like what I did with the fence, with the combination between the wisteria ivy and this stone fence. I think the stone fence may have came from Get Together, but anyways, I really like the way it looked here, and I also include a couple of these little bug houses or bug hotels. That's what I've called them before, and I really like them. I think they look really cool over here, and I definitely think having some sort of like beetles and things to harvest makes sense for this type of build, because a witch could probably use them in their potions. So I thought that was pretty cool. I also end up including a cow plant, which I have not included in a build in such a long time, but it's such a cool like feature of The Sims 4. I like the game to be mostly really realistic, but for some reason, even in realistic gameplay, I like the cow plant. I think it's such a cool, just, I don't know, part of the game. I think it's really fun, especially when doing more magical builds, of course. But yeah, for whatever reason, I just really love them, and so I wanted to include one in this build. And then for the landscaping, there's also a lot of flowers. I used mostly flowers that came from Cottage Living, and I feel like that's the case in every single build, but they're just the best flowers that we have. I think out of any pack or base game, they just look really nice in my opinion. And if you're not recognizing them, because you do have to find them through turning on the Show Hidden Objects cheat, so they're actually a live edit object, but they look really good, and they're perfect for landscaping in my opinion in like most builds. Like really like 90% of my builds, they match. I feel like, especially for this one, I felt like they worked perfectly, and also the mushrooms that came with that expansion pack worked really nicely too. And then here I'm picking out some wood. I wanted to have like a wood stack, and then I remembered this one that came from the my wedding stories pack, and so I put it there on the porch, and I felt like that worked out so perfectly, and I thought it looked really cute there. But yeah, here I'm going to add the chimney like I was talking about to this big chimney that I built with walls, and I don't know, I didn't really like the way it looked, and I think I thought that I was going to mess with it there, but later on I do mess with it and I get rid of it completely like I was talking about. But anyways, in here in the interior, I decided to add this platform around the staircase, and I am so pleased with the way that looked, because I liked the placement of the stairs, but it just felt so open, and this is like a really traditional home, and I feel like with traditional homes you need more like a separation of spaces, even if they're not closed off by doors. Like archways for me are a great way to achieve this, because I like being able to see into the different spaces and have that like open sort of like flowy feel to the rooms, but I like the separation. So for me, even adding that platform kind of made the illusion of a separate room, even though it's still totally all the same room. And so I was really pleased with the way that looked, and I really also wanted to use the wallpapers that came from the Maximalist kit, and I tried my hardest. I actually attempted the interior to this house, like the decorating portion, way too many times, probably like 6 different times, and I tried my hardest to get those different patterns to work and like the different colors, and I just am not that creative, I guess, when it comes to using more bold colors and patterns. I feel like I ended up using a lot more color in here than maybe I was originally planning on after I kind of scrapped the whole maximalist pattern, you know, attempt that I was trying to do. But what I ended up doing instead was going with a lot of the like red wood tones, because with Realm of Magic and with like Cottage Living and even throughout like other packs, there's a lot of really like nice red tones, and so I knew I was going to be able to find a lot of these like cozy furniture items in that color. And then I also used these chairs, and they had the yellow cushions on them, and then I remembered that we had these curtains that came from Cats and Dogs in the same yellow color, so it really spurred on like the entire color scheme for the entire build. So it's mostly like a red wood color with yellow, and then of course a lot of like creams and browns to kind of like neutralize it and mellow it out. But I really wish I could have made one of those wallpapers work. I love them. I think the patterns are really pretty, but the colors are just so hard for me to match. And I know that's the point of it, because it's supposed to be just like everything used together, and I don't know, I'm just not good at it. So yeah, maybe for another build. But anyways, over here is going to be the kitchen, and I realized that this window is not going to work because the counters just cut through it too much, and I couldn't raise it up. I did actually try this in one of my attempts of doing the interior, and it just really didn't look very good when I raised it up, so I decided to swap out the window. This window that I used came from Cottage Living, and I thought it looked so cute over here, and I thought it was like the perfect window for a kitchen. And actually the room on the other side is going to be the spellcaster room with the like giant cauldron in it and different potions and stuff. But this kitchen I think turned out to be so pretty. I actually really enjoyed using these cabinets and counters that came from vampires actually, and the red and the red wood and the black tops matched perfectly with the dining room, so I was really pleased about that. And something that I really like about the curtains that came from Cats and Dogs that I'm using, there's a single tile, just sort of like short window covering that also matches the big heavy drapes, so it's really nice to be able to kind of like mix and match them that way, rather than trying to mix and match a bunch of different styles of curtains. I'm using the same style, it just has different variations. I really would like to see more of that because I felt like it just made it so much easier to use. But here in the center of the kitchen, instead of doing an island, because I felt like an island would feel too modern. I feel like islands are probably a modern thing, even though I have no idea if they really are. I felt like it would look too modern. So I decided just to put a dining table in here, and I used this one that came from Cottage Living, and it came with like the perfect yellow tablecloth, so I thought that was perfect, and I just put a stool at it. The stool doesn't actually snap to the table. It's just sitting there, but your Sims should still be able to sit on it, so you can pretend they're sitting at the table. But it was more just for like the looks of it, and I put a few decorations up on top of it, like these pretty sunflowers and the nice little tea set that we got from Cottage Living, and a candle. Here I'm just picking out some clutter items to put around the kitchen. I was trying to not go like overboard with the clutter and decorations. I was trying to keep it more simply decorated, just because I recently did a lot of base game builds, by the way, and I meant to mention this earlier in the video, but thank you guys so much for enjoying and watching the base game builds. If you guys missed it, I did do 7 days of base game, and I shared a bunch of different renovations for my renovating base game series, a couple of original builds. I even had some community lots, and I just really had a lot of fun creating those. But yeah, a lot of those, or pretty much all of them, are more simply decorated in more of like that EA style, and so I was trying to kind of continue with that. I mean, this build is definitely not one of those, but I felt like in some areas I was holding back on the clutter, and I think it's from doing that series, and I actually really like it. I think sometimes less is more, and sometimes I forget that, and I think more is always more. And so I'm really happy that I did that, and I really enjoyed creating those builds, and I hope that you guys enjoyed them as well. And yeah, if you guys ever want me to do like another like 7 days of something in a theme, I think that would be kind of fun, so definitely let me know in the comments if you guys have any ideas for that. And then there I just quickly decorated the downstairs bathroom. There's going to be another bathroom upstairs, and here I was trying to find a different door. I really wanted to have like an open door sort of thing into the potion room, because I feel like I wanted the Sims to be able to close the doors to this room sometimes, but I couldn't find another door that I liked better than the archway, so I just left the archway there. So maybe if you guys are using custom content, there might be a better like custom content option, because there's a lot of different like open doors that you could imagine the Sims could close with custom content. At least I have a ton, and yeah, I could definitely think of a few in my mind that would work perfectly for it. But anyways, in here I wanted to have just different decorations that I thought would look nice, a different sort of like magical feeling things. Of course, the cauldron in the center of the room, and underneath the cauldron I actually used this floor. It's technically a rug, but it looks like a floor tile decoration, and it came with Jungle Adventure, and I liked it because it was so just neutral and stone. We did get some with Realm of Magic, but if I'm remembering correctly, they're more heavily like patterned and maybe even colorful. I don't know, for whatever reason, I felt like this one worked much better. And I really wanted to use this shelf in here. I think I ended up making it work. Yeah, I just sized it down using the tool mod just slightly so it actually fit in between the wall and the archway and it wasn't like overlapping in any weird way. And then here I remembered this item that came from Realm of Magic, so I just decided to put it on a little side table. I'm forgetting what it's called at the moment, but I believe it's like your spellcaster's kind of like friend or magical, it's like a little magical friend thing, right? I actually have no idea. I don't know why I'm trying to talk about it because I've never played with spellcasters in the game. I think I've play tested with a couple before, but never actually did anything magical, so I have no idea, but a familiar, I think that's what they're called. But anyways, I thought it looked really cute over there on the table, and you'll notice, I think later on in the speed build, I try to add like another decoration to the table, but I thought it might cause like maybe a conflict with the interactions with that object or something like that. So I decided just to leave it alone on the table, and then I also included a broom in that room as well. And then over here is going to be that porch area with a nice stack of wood. I put a dining table out there and just a few plant decorations. I thought it was super cute out there. There I just added a log, which is technically like a little couch, and it came with the werewolves pack, so I thought that looked really nicely over there. And then here I really wanted to use this couch. In one of my like attempts of doing the furnishing, I tried using this couch and pairing it with some like crazy wallpapers, and the house was just, it was so crazy, and I could not make it work. And then here I was like, well, maybe now that I'm not using such patterned wallpaper, maybe I can make them work, but the colors for me just weren't working. I wish that we had more neutral swatches of those with the patterns, because I love the patterns. I think they're beautiful, and I think the shape of that couch is really cool too, but the colors for me are just so hard to get to work. So I went with these couches that came from Realm of Magic, so they suit the style and they still had some pattern, but they weren't any crazy colors. But of course the wood actually matched a lot of the wood that I was using throughout the build, so it was so much more cohesive for me. And so I was pretty happy with that. Over here I'm using this high back chair that came from Cats and Dogs, one of my all-time favorites, but especially for a witchy themed build, I think it just works so nicely. And then over here I'm just adding some decorations to the fireplace. I clutter it up a lot, but I definitely think in a home like this, a fireplace surface would have a lot of clutter. But yeah, here I was trying to pick out a decoration to put next to that familiar, but I decided that leaving it alone would be the better choice, and so I just added this nice little lamp to the mantle instead, and I think that looks really good. And I pick out like a ton of decorations, and I also used that painting that came from Realm of Magic, and I sized it down and I placed it to look like it's hanging on the fireplace using the tool mod, so that worked out really nicely. And then the TV that I'm using in here, in case you guys don't recognize it, it came from the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack, but it is a debug object. I believe your Sims like find it in the trash or something. There's a few different swatches, but for me, I felt like it worked perfect in this build. I definitely did not want to have like a big modern TV or even like a small modern TV, and even like the boxier ones I felt like would be so out of place, because I feel like even a TV in general is kind of out of place in a build like this, at least kind of like the era and like style that I was going for. But I still wanted to have a TV because of course it is modern times. The Sims live in the modern time, and even the spellcasters do too. So this one for me was the best option. And then over here next to the staircase, I have a side table, and I cluttered it up with a few different decorations. And I didn't notice it now, but that peacock that I put up there is actually clipping into the railing on the staircase, but I do notice it when I take the screenshot, so I fix it before uploading it to the gallery. So yeah, if you guys notice it and it bothers you, I did fix it, because every once in a while when I'm building, I kind of just place things and then move on to the next thing and get kind of like carried away, I guess, and don't actually make sure things aren't clipping in weird ways. And then when I go to take screenshots, I find them and I'm like, ugh, that's so annoying. But most of the time I catch them and I fix them, I think. So yeah, over here is the entryway. I'm just adding some decorations to this dresser. I just imagine this dresser was just nice storage at the front of the house, maybe with some extra blankets or coats or books or even extra potions or magical things. Who knows what's stored inside, but I thought that looked really good. And then that base game little key wall decoration I thought actually looked really nice next to the front door. So I was really happy with the way that came together. And then here, yeah, I'm decorating the hallway. Sorry for the camera jumping around, but I've been having a lot of trouble with this recently. If you guys know a fix to it, but I feel like we got an update at some point, and ever since then, my camera jumps like crazy when having like a roof or even just like close to a wall or something. I feel like it just jumps so much easier than it used to. I try my best to avoid it, but yeah, I don't really know the best way to do that. Up here, I do end up including a toddler potty and also down in the lower bathroom. But at this point, I wasn't planning on creating a toddler room, so I wasn't thinking about it. But you'll see that here in just a little while. And then over here is going to be the master bedroom, and I used this wallpaper that came from Cottage Living. As you may have noticed, I was trying to pick out one of the wallpapers that came from the Maximalist set, but I just could not find one that I thought matched the build. Here I'm just pulling out different beds that I thought would match the overall decorating style of the interior, but I thought this one worked the best because it had the orangey sort of like color to the frame, and then I thought the green worked really nicely. It would have been probably too perfect if it had a yellow, but I'm kind of glad that it didn't, because I felt like that would be kind of overboard, especially using these yellow drapes up here again. But yeah, I thought the turquoise actually worked really nicely. Over here, I wanted to have like a little like cozy seating area with a small fireplace. And I did playtest this area because I wasn't really sure if it was going to function. And I did have a little bit of trouble because I placed this tea set over here. And since I am using move objects to place it, it wouldn't actually work. The sim couldn't reach it for whatever reason. So I did just move it and have it actually snap to the surface. And then I had to get rid of the light that I have next to it. And I just placed like a plant that's actually not snapped to the surface. And I made it work, so you'll see that in the screenshots. Over here, I wanted to have a chess table that was like sitting on the coffee table. I finished it now, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways. I've seen several different screenshots throughout my time of building, and every once in a while I've seen somebody size down a chess table and make it look like it's actually sitting on like a tabletop or a coffee table or something, and I've been meaning to do it for such a long time, and so I'm not sure who to like credit for the idea, because I've definitely seen it from several different places, but it's not my own idea. But I thought it looked really good, but unfortunately the legs to the chess table, you could see it under the coffee table, so I just hid a couple of trunks under there, and I actually thought that was a pretty good solution. And then yeah, here I'm continuing with the master bedroom. I have this nice little cabinet with extra potions and stuff in it in there, and a dresser and bedroom stuff, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty nice. But here I'm moving on to the second bedroom. So like I said, I was originally planning on having a nursery in here, but I'm pretty sure I've done a nursery with like a single spellcaster before. So I mean, really it's not too far off having a room for a toddler, but at least it's a little different. And so yeah, this bassinet of course is perfect because I'm pretty sure it came with Realm of Magic, and the style of it is really cute and everything. But yeah, I decided to switch it up, and so the bed that I end up using is a bed that came from the Werewolves game pack that we just got recently. So it does have little pictures of werewolves, and I was actually thinking it might be kind of a fun idea to imagine that the spellcaster had adopted this child, and maybe they thought they were adopting another spellcaster, or maybe even like a human sim, but it turned out to be a werewolf. So I felt like maybe you guys could have some fun gameplay or storytelling with that, but I didn't really think any deeper past that. But I thought the bed looked really cute in here, and it looks like handmade, so I liked that idea. Even though I didn't end up including a woodworking table anywhere, you could probably squeeze one on the side porch if you really wanted to, but we could pretend that the sim made it with magic or something. But yeah, here I'm just finishing up adding the final few details in this room, and then this is pretty much it for the build. I just add yeah, just a couple of extra decorations and sort out the chimneys like I was talking about, and of course I add these toddler potties so the toddler has somewhere to go to the bathroom. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this build. Here I'm going to sort out the whole chimney thing like I was talking about. I also add some ivy to the exterior, which I think looks really nice, and then we're on to the screenshots. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this build, and hopefully you guys do enjoy the screenshots. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions that you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
but I don't mind the cold. I have walked this street 1,000 times or more, and I hope that I still do when I'm old. Here, memories flash in front of me, I see them clearly. A life I once had is sealed in this town of concrete and stone. And I know, though I'm growing old, it can never be untold. The past, it is written in stone. Though I'm growing old, it can never be untold. The past, it is written in stone. I'm standing in the hallway, as I've done 1,000,000 times before. I have seen this room and walked this floor before, and the walls know every story I have told.